everyone! Today I wanted to talk about the new Netflix movie, Persuasion. I was so excited when I heard that Netflix was doing a adaptation of Jane Austen's Persuasion, because it is probably one of my favorite books, if not tied with like Pride and Prejudice. It is a story of Anne and Captain Wentworth. Anne and Captain Wentworth had met when they were younger, 17, 18, and actually I think they were 19, or Anne was 19, and she's persuaded by her family to not accept his marriage proposal because he's not rich enough, he's not kind of in their class, and he goes off to war and becomes really rich, and he comes back, and it's just a story of what happens. She's still feeling that attraction towards him, but just sad that her actions back then kind of created this gulf between them. And then just what happens, that it turns out like he still loves her, she still loves him. So that's the story. I was so excited to see the movie, but I believe the movie failed in two aspects of, and it was just kind of disrespectful to Jane Austen's writing and just the characters that she has made. So the two things were the script and the characterizations of the people in the book. So I'll talk about the script first. So they wanted to modernize the script, and here's an example of one of those modernizations. We are strangers, worse than strangers. We are exes. So that sentence was taken from a place in the book where it says, "Now they were strangers, nay worse than strangers, for they could never become acquainted. It was a perpetual estrangement." So you can see the difference where one of them just has more the depth of language, more the depth, it shows you, pinpoints more of what she was feeling at that time when she felt that. There's many little times in the movies where they would kind of slip in these modern phrases, and because I've read the book, I knew what they were trying to say, and I remember those passages, but they just did not live up to the passages. And I have this children's book, and I wonder how even a children's book would have taken that and would have been better. I mean, they modernize it and change it a little bit for younger readers. Would it be better than "We are strangers, worse than strangers, we're exes"? So there's a place in the book, and it says, "Their hearts had been so open, their faces so dear to each other, and now they were strangers. The hardest thing to bear was his cold politeness." So even that has more of a ring of Jane Austen and the feelings that they were having than that line from the movie. Another example of these modernizations, it is said, if you're a 5 in London, you're a 10 in Bath. So with phrases like that, it's almost like if they're dumbing it down for modern audiences. Honestly, I don't know anyone who speaks like that. And when you kind of change it and dumb it down for audiences, you lose what made Jane Austen popular. You lose, especially with characters like Anne, like her strength and her depth of character. There are many examples through the movies, but I'm kind of focusing just on Anne since she's had the most screen time. But as I was thinking about this, I even remembered like the 2005 Pride and Prejudice, where they changed phrases and they changed bits of stuff to make it more modern, but it still had the feel of Jane Austen. So that was the script. Those were a couple of examples of just them trying to modernize the script and just the language, and it just fell short and just not Jane Austen. The second place where they definitely failed was the characterizations. And this is most notably with Anne. So I'm going to give an example from the book, and then I'll kind of say how they did it in the movie. So in the book, Anne is kind of quiet, reserved. She's almost forgotten by her family. Even when like they're all there in the same room, they're talking amongst themselves, and they're like, "Oh, Anne, you're here." She's almost forgotten, except when there's an emergency, and then, "Anne, what do we do?" Or, "Oh, Anne can do this. She's almost like expendable," except in emergencies. But you don't get that in the movie. In the movie, she is almost childlike and just goofing around a lot. There's a scene where she first meets Frederick Wentworth again, and she has like jam and stuff all over her face, and because she's playing around with the kids. So just very different how they characterized her in that respect. Another place where they didn't kind of match up was in the book, just how she views love. When she's talking to Captain Benwick at the end of the book, and she's explaining how women view love, she goes, that women love the longest when existence or when hope is gone. So basically saying we can love a long time. In the movie, she's flirting with Mr. Elliot and going, "Ooh, he's a 10," which is just very different from the book, where in the book you think she thinks Mr. Elliot's a nice guy, but where her head and her heart are. Another difference is in the book she has long-term friendships where she tries to keep them up. She has a friend, Mrs. Smith, and she visits her when she goes to Bath, and that's how she finds out about Mr. Elliot's scheming ways. But in the movie, they don't have that. It could be that they didn't have the character Mrs. Smith and that their friendship just for runtime, but it also goes to show just her character and how she can keep friendships. And the last one, which kind of goes back to the first thing I talked about, was she's very mature, and it says it in several places in the book where she was not the girl she was at 19. And you don't get that in the movie. Here, there's places where they show her crying. She has a bottle of wine, and it's just not the character that was written by Jane Austen. There were several places where I kept thinking, so why does Frederick Wentworth like her again? The story was there, two people drift apart, they go to line, things like that. But because of the script and characterization, the story was just unlikable and unrecognizable when you watched the movie. A lot of people just loved Jane Austen, and myself included, and that's why when we saw it, we just felt that we were let down with that. And it's kind of sad because even those who have not seen Jane Austen or have read any of her books, if this movie was their first kind of like glimpse into Jane Austen, they were kind of cheated just out of the richness of her writing and the richness of her characters. So those were my thoughts. Let me know what you thought. Were there any parts of the movie that you liked? I thought a lot of the supporting characters were pretty good, but the main characters, which make and drive the movie, just had these flaws. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Did you like the movie? Do you agree about the script and characterizations? Who was your favorite Jane Austen character? Let me know. Hope you like this video. Like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks. Bye.